The best and worst plane seats can make or break your entire flight experience. But it's not just about comfort. It's about access, speed, and even the chance to avoid being stuck in the middle of a nightmare. Seat choice isn't as simple as just picking a window, aisle, or middle spot. Some seats offer you freedom, others lock you in. Here's what you need to know if you want to make the best choice for your next flight. Chapter 1. The basics of seat selection. Seat choice is far more important than most people realize. It's not just about what's comfortable for a few hours, but also about timing, accessibility, and avoiding major annoyances. The window, aisle, and middle seats are the three primary choices. But there's more at play than simply picking one based on preference. For example, being seated near the front of the plane means a quicker boarding process, better access to overhead bins, and faster deplaning. On the other hand, being seated toward the back often means longer boarding and deplaning times. But that's not all. The location of your seat in the cabin also determines how much you'll be exposed to noise, especially when seated near the galley or bathrooms. Choosing the right seat isn't just about comfort. It's a strategic decision. The goal isn't just comfort. It's about minimizing interruptions, making your flight more efficient, and most importantly, reducing your chances of having to deal with what could be an avoidable headache. So before we dive deeper into the pros and cons of each seat, keep in mind that it's about more than just leg room or a window view. Chapter 2. The window seat, pros and cons. Window seats are popular for a reason, but they come with both perks and problems. One advantage is the view. The beauty of having that scenic perspective during takeoff and landing can't be overstated. Plus, for those who enjoy resting, the ability to lean against the side of the plane can make sleeping a bit easier. The window also provides you with a bit more space, as you're shielded from the constant stream of passengers walking up and down the aisle. But there are clear downsides. First, getting up can be a hassle. If you're seated at the window and need to use the restroom or stretch, you'll have to wake up your seatmates to let you out, which can lead to some awkward moments. If they're sleeping, expect to do some contorting just to pass by. Window seats also tend to be colder since they're next to the exterior of the plane. Then there's the issue of deplaning. Being in a window seat means you'll need to wait for everyone else in your row to get off the plane first. So while it might seem like a great choice, you need to weigh the perks of the view and relative peace against the inconvenience of restricted movement and the potential cold. Chapter 3. The aisle seat, pros and cons. Now let's talk about aisle seats. These have always been a favorite for those who like easy access to the aisle. The freedom to get up whenever you want without disturbing anyone is a huge plus. Whether it's for bathroom breaks, stretching your legs, or just moving around, aisle seats offer that flexibility. Plus, they tend to make deplaning faster because you're already near the aisle when it's time to leave the plane. But with the aisle comes some trade-offs. You'll often have to deal with seatmates who need to get up themselves, meaning you'll have to stand up multiple times during the flight. Aisle seats also leave you exposed to the constant flow of traffic through the cabin, which can lead to being bumped by the flight attendants or other passengers. These aren't deal breakers for everyone, but if you're someone who needs to rest, you might find the constant interruptions annoying. Aisle seats are great for freedom of movement, but that freedom comes with more external disruptions. Chapter 4. The middle seat, the worst of both worlds. The middle seat is widely regarded as the least desirable seat on the plane, and for good reason. You don't get the view of the window, nor do you have the freedom of movement of the aisle. You're literally stuck in the middle, with little control over your space or access. If you need to get up, you'll have to disturb both of your seatmates. And let's be honest, nobody wants to make that awkward climb over people or wake up a neighbor who's sound asleep. Middle seats also suffer from a lack of comfort. You don't have the sidewall to lean against like a window seat, nor do you have the space that comes with aisle access. The only real benefit of sitting in a middle seat is the armrests, and while you technically get both, The uncomfortable proximity to two people makes them less of an advantage than you'd think. So why pick a middle seat? The truth is, you shouldn't. Avoiding the middle seat should be a priority if you can manage it. If you're flying with a choice, always opt for a window or aisle. Chapter 5. The new Wilma boarding process. There's a new boarding process to consider, and if you're not aware, it could impact your seat selection strategy. The Wilma boarding method, recently introduced by a major airline, is reshaping how passengers board. Here's how it works. Window seat passengers board first, followed by those in middle seats, and aisle seat passengers board last. Now, you might think being last to board is an advantage. You avoid sitting in a cramped cabin for too long, right? The catch is, by the time you board, overhead bin space is often gone. So if you're in an aisle seat, you could end up being forced to check your carry-on at the gate, risking the loss or damage of your belongings. This means that for flights using Wilma boarding, it's better to opt for a window or middle seat. Not only will you get on the plane first, but you'll also have a much better shot at securing your overhead bin space. Choosing a seat isn't just about comfort anymore. It's about strategy. Chapter 6. The best seats for your flight. So, what are the best seats on the plane? The key is finding a balance between comfort, convenience, and minimizing exposure to interruptions. Aisle seats in the middle of the cabin are often your best bet. These seats allow you to move freely without disturbing anyone, and they're generally far enough from the galley or bathrooms to avoid major disturbances. Bulkhead and exit row seats are also attractive because they offer extra legroom. However, these seats come with some serious drawbacks. Bulkhead seats lack under-seat storage, so you'll have to stow your items in the overhead bins. And exit row seats might seem appealing, but they can be colder due to their proximity to emergency exits. They also come with a lack of under-seat storage, and sometimes you'll have to pay extra for them. Ultimately, the middle aisle seats in the center of the plane tend to be the best balance for most travelers. The combination of mobility, space, and less exposure to disruptions makes them an ideal choice. Chapter 7. The worst seats on the plane. If you want to make sure your flight is comfortable, avoid the last row at all costs. These seats are the worst on the plane. They don't recline, so you're forced to sit upright for the entire flight, which can be particularly uncomfortable on long journeys. And being near the bathrooms means you're constantly exposed to foot traffic and unpleasant odors. The last row also comes with another drawback: limited access to overhead bins. By the time you board, most of the bin space will likely be filled, which means you'll be stuck gate-checking your carry-on. That's a hassle no one needs. Also, don't sit near an exit row unless you know what you're getting into. While these seats offer extra legroom, they lack storage, and you might be subjected to cold air from the emergency exit doors. Plus, these seats are often more expensive, so unless you're prepared to deal with the drawbacks, it's better to avoid them. Chapter 8. Special considerations for bulkhead and exit row seats. While bulkhead and exit row seats seem appealing because they offer extra legroom, these seats come with several hidden issues. Bulkhead seats are located directly behind partitions, which means no under-seat storage. Your belongings will have to be stored in the overhead bin, which can be inconvenient, especially during long flights. Additionally, the tray tables and entertainment screens in these seats often fold out from the armrests, making them harder to use. Exit row seats offer more legroom, which is great for tall passengers, but they come with their own set of challenges. The temperatures near the emergency exits can be significantly colder, and there's no under-seat storage. Plus, if you're traveling with a carry-on bag, you'll need to stow it overhead, which adds an extra hassle. In short, while bulkhead and exit row seats might seem ideal, they're only worth it if legroom is your top priority and you're okay with the lack of storage and colder conditions. Chapter 9. Choosing the right side of the plane. The side of the plane you sit on can affect your overall experience in subtle but significant ways. When you're on a long flight, even small choices can add up in terms of comfort. First, if you plan to sleep during the flight, it's worth considering which side of the plane you typically sleep on at home. If you prefer to sleep on your left side, for example, you'll be more comfortable in a window seat on the left side of the plane. This way, you can rest your head against the wall of the plane and avoid any awkward positioning. For those who want to work or need access to the aisle without disturbing anyone, choosing the side that allows you to extend your dominant arm into the aisle is key. The additional space can make working or using your device far more comfortable. It's also easier to stretch without worrying about bumping into your neighbors. If you don't have a strong preference, the right side of the plane is usually less crowded. This is especially true on larger planes, where passengers tend to lean toward the left side when boarding, leaving the right side more open. Chapter 10. Timing your seat selection. When it comes to securing the best seat, timing is everything. Flights fill up quickly, and the best seats are always taken first. To ensure you get the seat you want, it's crucial to check in exactly 24 hours before your flight. Many airlines open their online check-in process a day before departure, and this is your best chance to grab the best available seat. This window is especially important if you're flying on a popular route where demand is high. Loyalty programs can make a huge difference here as well. Frequent flyers or those with elite status often get early access to seat selection. So if you're a frequent traveler, take advantage of your membership to jump ahead of the crowd. For everyone else, setting an alarm to check in the minute online check-in opens is a good strategy. This level of preparation helps prevent disappointment when you're stuck with a less than ideal seat. Chapter 11. The center aisle seat, your ultimate win. The center aisle seat on wide-body aircraft is often overlooked, but can be a real game-changer, especially on longer flights. Aisle seats offer great mobility, but the center aisle seat provides the same freedom without the constant need to stand up when your neighbors need to pass. This position allows you to stretch your legs without disturbing anyone, making it ideal for those who like to move around during the flight. One of the biggest advantages of the center aisle seat is its strategic position. Located in the middle of the cabin, it allows for an even distribution of noise from the front and back of the plane. This means you get a quieter experience compared to being near the bathrooms or galley, where noise and foot traffic can be constant. Plus, because it's positioned away from the extreme front and back sections, it's less likely to be affected by turbulence. The middle of the plane is often the most stable, offering a smoother ride than seats toward the front or back. If you're traveling with a companion, the center aisle seat can also be great for bonding. You're both in the middle of the cabin, away from the distractions and interruptions found in other sections of the plane. Chapter 12. When to upgrade. Sometimes economy class just doesn't cut it, especially for long flights. If you're considering upgrading, it's important to weigh the costs against the benefits. Premium economy is a step up from regular economy, offering more space, better meal options, and often better service. The extra legroom and wider seats can make a significant difference on long-haul flights, where comfort becomes a necessity rather than a luxury. While premium economy might cost more, the added comfort is often well worth the price, especially for flights lasting over 5 hours. If you don't want to go all the way to premium economy, there are other options to consider. For example, exit row and bulkhead seats often provide extra legroom, which can make your flight more comfortable. However, as we've discussed, they come with their own set of disadvantages, like cold temperatures or a lack of under-seat storage. Still, if legroom is a priority and you're willing to accept some of these trade-offs, these seats might be a good compromise. Ultimately, if your flight is particularly long or you're traveling for an important event, the investment in an upgrade can be well worth it. Whether it's for the added comfort, the better meals, or just the extra space, upgrading your seat can significantly improve your flight experience. Chapter 13. Final thoughts on seat selection. In the end, choosing the right seat can drastically improve your flight experience. If you can, avoid middle seats at all costs and go for a window or aisle seat that offers the right combination of space, convenience, and comfort. For the best overall experience, aisle seats near the middle of the plane are usually the ideal choice. Avoid seats near the back of the plane, and make sure to check in early to grab your spot before the best seats are taken. That's all for today's guide on selecting the best plane seats. If you have any questions or need further clarification, feel free to drop them in the comments below. We'll definitely reply. And don't forget to subscribe for more travel tips and hacks to make your next trip even better. Safe travels, and we'll see you in the next one.